Welcome back to another portfolio update. So today we're going to be showing you my general investing account. Yes, I know it's been a while since I've shown you my general investing account. I have been focusing more on my stocks and shares ISA for you guys, and that is simply because I have not been putting any money in my general investing account. In fact, I actually haven't opened the account since the last update. So just because I'm a long-term investor, I just buy and hold. I only really sell stocks if I find a better opportunity, because obviously I don't have unlimited funds. There is always an opportunity cost when investing in a company, or if I don't like the company anymore. So yeah, just bought Tesla, and yes, there have been some hiccups with like tariffs and other stuff. Potential brand damage of Elon Musk. And the left turning on Elon Musk. So there has been lots of volatility around the stock. A lot of this is short term minded and just a lot of short term thinking. I generally don't see any of these factors having long term impacts. Like, I do think the long term goal, like Trump's long term goal, is to get free trade. That's generally what I think he wants to do, is just bring all these countries back to the negotiating table, saying, if you want access to the American consumer, you know you are going to have to give us access to your country's consumer. So yeah, yes, I think that is ultimately the goal for Trump, and I do think he will get there. So I do think these tariffs will be lifted, um, in 6 months to a year from now. I think everyone, but it's whether or not how the US economy holds up until then. Because obviously, if they enter a recession, it's not going to look good, as Trump still needs to win midterms, which I find absolutely insane. That just because I'm in the UK and we don't have midterms where you can just completely lose power halfway through your elected term. But yeah, there's some benefits and some drawbacks. Some it does hold Trump to account a bit, but it also doesn't mean he can. It does put a time factor onto his plan. He kind of has to execute fast, which is why I think he's going so hard and fast. Rather than doing a 10%, and seeing paying the water, he has to just go straight up to a 50, 60 and really try and force that pain early. But ultimately, none of us are going to know how his strategy plays out. Anyway, guys, enough rambling on. Let's get into my portfolio. So if we can see, Tesla is now $240 a share. It has massively come back down since its all-time high. My average in this account, because obviously if we go on to the max, I was buying 200 in 2020 2023. I was and early 2024. That's when I put the majority of the money in the account. 2024, mid 2024, early 2024. So my average in this account was under $200 a share. But obviously I have continued to buy. I was continuing to buy, when I maxed my ISA in November, and then so I had to put my general investing account, and so I was buying at these ridiculously high prices still, just because I just dollar cost averaging. Obviously, in benefit in hindsight, I should have just held the money back and bought now, but who's to say it wouldn't have held at this price? I'm not saying it would have continued going up, but say it just would have stayed at 400 and just traded flat, and then traded flat for a year and then spiked up again. Because that's we've seen it done in the past, and even here we saw it trade between 270, and it kind of did trade around the 250 range. It's pretty much traded flat for 5 years, and within the 250 range, obviously there has been a lot of volatility with Tesla stock, as there is with when you don't have current cash flows, high cash flows, and a lot of its value derives from future cash flows. It is obviously volatile, and it was the same with Nvidia and other stocks before, because Nvidia's obviously now got guaranteed cash flow, and even though Nvidia's got guaranteed cash flow, it still has the volatility still really high in it, just because it is so based on so dependent on future earnings. So what does that mean for my portfolio? Well, as you guys can see, I still own 105 shares, and I did buy some more shares on my ISA account. So I've got 390 shares in that account. I've got 105 shares in this account. So yes, I'm only 5 shares away from my goal of 500 shares. And then yes, I've seen all of your guys' comments. After I hit those 500 shares across these two accounts, I will start to diversify. I'm not saying I'm going to stop buying Tesla, but I will, satisfy all of you guys out there. I will buy some other stuff because, I've been saying this since I started investing. 500 shares has always been my goal. Anyway, guys, I've currently dropped below the £20,000 mark in this portfolio. I'm currently down 10.42%, down £2,200. And another reason why I don't really show this portfolio as much, I can do that more because because it's not I don't have as much money in the account. The swings isn't that great. There can be a swing, and it's still £20,000. So yeah, it's not much to change. I have obviously last update it was like £20,000. This update £19,000. So yeah, it's not a lot's changed. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I thought I'd give a little update. Some of you guys are new. Some of you guys, just haven't seen it in a while. So, yeah, this is an update on my general investing account. Currently valued at £19,000, 105 Tesla shares. Across both accounts, I'm currently now at 495 Tesla shares. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. I do try and respond to as many comments as possible. So if you want to ask me any questions down below, feel free to. I'll do my best at replying, ASAP. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.